The WTA ranking system is lying about Eala, and nobody has noticed yet. Somewhere in Manila right now, a 21-year-old girl is sitting at world number 25. And I need you to understand that number is a lie. Not a scandal. Not a conspiracy. A mathematical lie that the entire tennis world has been staring at for 5 months without seeing it, and once you see it, you will not be able to unsee it either. Here is the sentence that should be terrifying every top 10 player on the WTA tour right now, and almost nobody has said it out loud. The gap between Eala and the best players on earth has shrunk from 39 to 18 in 5 months. Not her ranking. The actual distance. And by the time I am done showing you the numbers behind that sentence, you are going to understand exactly why the top 4 players in the world should be holding their breath every time a draw sheet gets pulled. If stories like this, the outsider quietly breaking a system built to hide her, are the kind of thing that keeps you watching until the very end, hit subscribe now. Because what I am about to show you is not something you will find neatly explained anywhere else, and there is a twist near the end of this video about what happens the moment this all stops working in her favor. You will want to be here for that. Everyone is currently repeating the same headline. 6 wins over top 10 players this season. Yasmine Paolini. Coco Gauff. Elena Rybakina. Iga Swiatek. Elena Svitolina, twice. It is on every sports page in Manila, and it was on ESPN this morning. 6 is the number everyone is quoting. I think 6 is the wrong number to be excited about. I think the number that should actually worry people is sitting one column over on the draw sheet, and nobody has pointed at it yet. Here it is. 4 of those 6 wins did not happen in a semifinal. They did not happen in a quarterfinal. They happened in the second and third rounds, before the tournament had even properly settled in. Paolini, ranked 8th in the world, went out in the second round in Dubai. Gauff, ranked 4th, in the third round at Indian Wells. Rybakina, ranked 2nd, in the second round in Berlin. Swiatek, the defending champion, in the third round at Wimbledon. For top 4 or close opponents, eliminated before the business end of the tournament had even started. Before we go further, here is what a WTA ranking actually is, because almost nobody explains this properly. It is not a measurement of how good you are right now. It is a rolling total of your results across the last 52 weeks. Every single week, whatever you did that same week a year ago quietly falls off the back of the calculation. It is a rear-view mirror. For most players that is completely fine, because most players do not change much in 12 months. But run that same system on someone who is genuinely transforming in real time, and the math breaks in a very specific way. The ranking is always describing a worse player than the one currently standing on the court. Now hold that thought, because it is about to explain something that looked, on paper, like a contradiction. In March of 2026, Eala reached the 4th round at Indian Wells and pushed her ranking to a career high. Weeks later, despite not losing anything close to that level, her number dropped. Why? Because points she had earned reaching the Miami semi-final back in 2025 quietly expired off the 52-week window. Her past was dragging her number down while her present was climbing. For a stretch this year, the number next to her name was describing the player she used to be, and tournaments were still using that number to build their draws around her. Here is why that actually matters, and it is not a small thing. A ranking is not a trophy. Functionally, it is a sorting tool. It decides who gets protected in a draw and who gets thrown wherever the computer drops them. Only the top names in any field are seeded, guaranteed not to face each other early. Everyone outside that number is fair game for anyone, including the very best players alive. If you have ever wondered why one seed always seems to draw a brutal opening week while another gets a clean run to the quarters, that is your answer. So let us actually open up those 6 matches, not the highlights, the draw sheets, because once you see which round each one happened in, this stops being a feel-good underdog story and starts looking like a warning. Dubai, second round, February, Eala, ranked 47th at the time, beats world number 8 Yasmine Paolini, 6-1, 7-6. Indian Wells, 3rd round, March, ranked 32nd, she beats world number 4 Coco Gauff, 6-2, 2-0, retired, and to be fair to everyone watching, that one ends on an injury retirement, not a finished match, so hold that asterisk in your head. Berlin, 2nd round, June, ranked 35th, she beats world number 2 Elena Rybakina, 7-5, 6-4, payback for a loss Rybakina had handed her a month earlier in Rome, evening their head-to-head at 1 win apiece. Same week, quarterfinal, still ranked 35th, she beats world number 8 Elina Svitolina, 6-3, 6-4. Wimbledon, 3rd round, July, ranked 32nd, she beats defending champion and world number 3 IGA Swiatek, 7-6, 9, 6-2, becoming the first Filipino player in history to reach the second week of a Grand Slam. And in Washington, in the DC Open quarterfinal, she beats Svitolina again, 6-3, 6-4, the identical scoreline as Berlin, on a completely different surface, 6 weeks apart. Sit with that last detail for a second, because it is the one nobody has connected properly yet. Grass rewards a big serve and shortens points. Hard court stretch rallies out and reward the returner. Those are supposed to be different games. Producing the exact same result on both, against a top 10 opponent who had 6 weeks and a full team to prepare a specific counter, is not something that happens by accident. Whatever Eala did to Svitolina was not conditional on the surface. And you cannot game plan around something that is not conditional on anything. Now line up the gap between her ranking and her opponent's ranking at the moment of each win, in order, 39. 28, 33. 27, 29. And in Washington, 18. Look at where that line starts, and look at where it ends. In February, the distance between Eala and the top 10 players she beat was 39 spots. 5 months later, it is roughly half that. The gap is not staying still. It is closing, fast, from her side of the mirror. And here is the twist buried inside that trend, because it is not the good news it sounds like. The reason that gap is shrinking is not that she is beating weaker players. It is that she is running out of room above her. The mirror is finally starting to catch up to the player she actually is. Which means the exact story everyone is currently telling about her, lucky underdog outside the top 30 shocking the elite, has an expiration date, and that date is close. Let's deal honestly with the record itself, because there is an obvious question sitting underneath all of this. How many times has she actually played these players? This is her 8th career win against a top 10 opponent, and 6 of those 8 have come in this single season. That is not a fluke sample stretched across a whole career. That is one 21-year-old collecting elite scalps faster than almost anyone else on tour, this year, right now. And it is not one soft name padding the list either. Paolini is a Wimbledon and Roland Garros finalist. Rybakina is a Wimbledon champion. Swiatek is a multiple Grand Slam winner and the player she just knocked out as defending champion. Gauff is a Grand Slam champion in her own right. Svitolina is a former world number 3, a WTA finals champion, and this year's Rome titleist. There is no easy entry on that list. Every single one of them has either won a major or played for one. So here is the sentence I opened this video with, and now you have the receipts behind it. Rankings pay you for how far you go in a tournament. They do not pay you extra for who you beat along the way. Knock out the world number 2 in the second round and then lose in the quarterfinal, and you get quarterfinal points, the exact same points a player would earn for beating 3 qualifiers to reach that same round. There is no bonus line for the scalp. Which means you can do what Eala has done 6 times in 5 months and still be sitting outside the top 20 the entire time it's happening. The system genuinely cannot see it. The coaches preparing to face her absolutely can, and they have been watching this since February. Here is what happens next, and it is the part that should make you nervous if you are one of the players still ahead of her. She has almost nothing left to defend for the rest of the hardcourt season. The points from this stretch a year ago were minimal, which means from here it is almost entirely upside. Keep this pace going and she is inside the top 16 before the year is out. That sounds like the happy ending. It is not, and this is the part that took me a while to actually accept. The moment Eala becomes a seed, she stops being this specific problem. Seeding protects in both directions. The day she cracks the top 16, tournaments start keeping her away from the other seeds in the early rounds. She disappears from everyone's danger zone in the second round. The very thing that has made her so lethal for 5 months, walking out unseeded, unprotected, and catastrophically underestimated, is about to be engineered out of existence by the same system that has been hiding her. And the crowds have already figured out what the ranking hasn't. The tournament chairman in Washington told reporters that over the month before the event, more than 80% of every single ticket inquiry his office received was the same question: when is Eala playing? At a tournament with Jessica Pegula, Naomi Osaka, Frances Tiafoe and Venus Williams also in the draw. 80%, for a player the ranking still calls 28th. So here is where this leaves us, and it is the question I genuinely do not have a clean answer to yet. Everything we just walked through describes a player who thrives in one very specific condition: unseeded, underestimated, handed to an opponent who did not properly prepare because the number next to her name said they didn't need to. What happens to that player the day she walks out as a seed herself, with a target on her back, a scouting report against her, and a crowd expecting her to win instead of hoping she might? I have a theory about where the answer is hiding, and I think it's sitting inside the way she beat Svitolina twice with the exact same scoreline on 2 different surfaces. But I am not committing to it yet, because there is one event left this summer that will actually test it for real: the US Open draw. The moment it is released, I am going through every section of it to see exactly which top 4 player ends up sharing a quarter with her, and whether the mirror has finally caught all the way up. Drop your own read in the comments. Do you think her ranking is finally catching up to her level, or is her level still climbing faster than the number can move? I read every single one of them, and honestly, I still go back and forth on this myself. Subscribe so you don't miss the draw breakdown the moment it drops, because that is the video that actually answers the question this whole story has been building toward.